Ethan had always thought of himself as ordinary. A human engineer stationed on orbital station Nova 7, he spent most of his days inspecting hull panels, calibrating energy conduits, and checking life support systems. He liked his routine. It was predictable, safe. Until the day everything changed. It started with a low hum vibrating through the metal corridors of the station. The kind of hum that didn't come from the engines. Ethan frowned as he wiped grease from his hands and glanced at the communication console. The station's security sensors were picking up something approaching. "Unknown vessel entering orbit," said the automated voice. Calm, neutral, but somehow tense. Ethan swallowed. Orbital Station Nova 7 was a hub for interstellar trade and diplomacy. Visitors came and went, most friendly. But this was different. Something about the ship's energy signature made his stomach twist. By the time he reached the observation deck, the crew was already gathered. Outside the reinforced glass, a vessel unlike any human design glimmered against the backdrop of Earth's blue curve. Its hull shone like polished crystal, reflecting starlight in waves of purple and gold. Smooth, elegant, almost alive in its movements. Then the hatch opened. A delegation of aliens entered the station. They moved gracefully, with fluid motions Ethan could not mimic. At their center walked a figure so striking that time seemed to slow. Her skin shimmered faintly in silver and lavender hues. Her eyes glowed softly like distant stars. She wore a long robe that seemed woven from liquid light, shifting and flowing as she moved. The crew murmured in awe. The captain, Commander Hayes, stepped forward with cautious respect. "Welcome to Orbital Station Nova 7, he said. "I am Commander Hayes. You are most welcome here." The alien princess nodded. There was no need for words. Her gaze, calm and piercing, scanned the room with quiet authority. Ethan felt her eyes settle on him. And then it happened. "I choose this human," the princess proclaimed, her voice melodious yet commanding. The room froze. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. He blinked, certain he had misunderstood. What?" he stammered. The princess's eyes did not waver. "I choose him." Every eye in the observation deck turned toward him. Some crew members whispered, some gasped. Commander Hayes looked like he had just seen a ghost. Ethan's hands shook. "Why me?" he asked, though the words felt weak. The princess tilted her head slightly as if considering how much to reveal. "He is the one," she said softly. "The one who will help save my world." Ethan's mind raced. Save her world? Him? A simple engineer? He was terrified. "Sir, Commander, should I—" Ethan started, but Hayes shook his head, his face pale. "No," Hayes said. "We don't know what this means yet. Let's follow protocol." But Ethan couldn't follow protocol. His heart pounded so loudly he thought the princess could hear it. The entire delegation moved closer, and Ethan noticed subtle things he had never seen in any alien before. A faint hum in the air around them, a shimmer that seemed to bend reality just slightly, as if the princess carried a part of the cosmos with her. I can't do anything," Ethan whispered to himself, though the words were meaningless. He had never piloted a starship, never fought in a battle, never even left Earth's orbit beyond supply runs. And now a princess from another star system had declared him her chosen. "Fear is natural," the princess said, her voice soft but steady. "But do not let it paralyze you. You have something we value, something humans often underestimate. Creativity, courage, and the ability to think beyond what is expected." Ethan stared at her. Her words were kind, but they were heavy. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him like gravity multiplied tenfold. He wanted to say something clever, something reassuring, but all he could do was nod. The aliens guided him through the station corridors. Everywhere Ethan went, eyes followed him. Crew members whispered. Some openly stared. The princess moved alongside him. A constant presence, her gaze steady, unyielding yet strangely comforting. Finally, they reached a transport shuttle. The interior was unlike anything Ethan had seen. Walls that pulsed softly with energy. Consoles that responded to thought rather than touch, and a soft, warm glow that seemed to cradle him in light. "You will accompany me," Princess Lyria said. "The journey will not be simple. You will face challenges you cannot yet imagine. I don't even know where we are going," Ethan said, swallowing hard. "You will learn," she replied, "and you will find strength you did not know you possessed. Humans are capable of more than you believe." The shuttle lifted smoothly into the void, slipping past the station's orbit and toward the distant reaches of space. Ethan pressed his hands against the console, his knuckles white, his mind whirling. He thought of Earth, of the life he had known, of the simple comfort of routine. And then he realized that life was gone. Whatever awaited him in the stars was no longer ordinary. Hours passed as the shuttle moved silently. Ethan tried to observe the princess, curious despite his fear. She was calm, almost serene, yet there was a quiet intensity in her every movement. When she looked at him, it was not with judgment, but with expectation. "Why me?" Ethan asked again, almost whispering. "You are human," she said simply, "and that is enough. Your kind has a spark we rarely see. Adaptability, resilience, imagination. The galaxy is vast and dangerous. You may not be the strongest, but you are unpredictable. That is why I choose you." Ethan swallowed, trying to make sense of it. "So you think I can help?" "I know you can," she said, her voice like the gentle hum of a star. The shuttle moved beyond the familiar stars of the solar system. Earth shrank behind him, a small blue pearl floating in darkness. Ethan's fear mingled with awe. He was leaving everything he knew behind, traveling toward a destiny he did not understand. And yet, a strange excitement stirred inside him. Maybe he could do this. Maybe he could rise to the challenge. Maybe, just maybe, he could be more than ordinary. The princess observed him quietly, her presence both comforting and intimidating. She did not offer false reassurance. She simply believed. For the first time, Ethan wondered if humans were not as small or powerless as he had always believed. The stars stretched before them, infinite and mysterious. And for the first time in his life, Ethan felt like he was on the edge of something extraordinary, something that could change not only his life, but the future of a distant world. And so, the human engineer, terrified but determined, took his first steps into a story far larger than himself. The shuttle glided silently into the unknown, carrying a chosen human and a princess whose eyes held the weight of a galaxy. The adventure had begun. The shuttle glided silently through the darkness of space. Ethan could feel the hum of the engines vibrating gently through the floor beneath his boots. Every so often he stole glances at Princess Lyria. She sat across from him, calm and composed, her hands folded gracefully in her lap. Her eyes still glowed faintly, reflecting the distant stars outside. Ethan swallowed hard. He had so many questions. Where were they going? What did she mean when she said he was chosen? And most importantly, why him? "I need to understand," Ethan finally said, his voice breaking the silence. "Why did you choose me? I am just me, an engineer. I fix machines." Princess Lyria tilted her head slightly as if she had been expecting this question. "You are more than that," she said softly. "I do not choose lightly. My world is in danger and I require someone who can think in ways my people cannot. Humans, you are resourceful, courageous, and unpredictable. These qualities may save many lives." Ethan blinked. He swallowed again. "Save lives? Your world is in danger? From what?" Lyria's expression grew serious. "From a conqueror, a force that sweeps through star systems, destroying planets that resist. My people are advanced, but even we cannot defeat them alone. We need allies who can see solutions beyond conventional thinking. That is why I chose you." Ethan felt a wave of fear and disbelief. I'm just one human. How can I make any difference against something that can destroy a planet?" The princess's gaze softened, but it did not waver. "One human can make a difference. Even the smallest spark can ignite a fire. You are that spark, Ethan. I do not ask for strength or power. I ask for courage, creativity, and willingness to act when others hesitate." "That is enough." Ethan could hardly believe her words. He had spent his life solving engineering problems, repairing systems, and following procedures. He was not a soldier. He had never commanded anything larger than a maintenance drone. And yet, this alien princess, whose very presence seemed to radiate wisdom and authority, believed he could help save an entire world. The shuttle glided further into space, and Lyria began to explain more. She showed him a holographic display that projected her planet Orion, suspended in the vastness of space. The planet's surface shimmered with forests of crystal trees, rivers of liquid light, and cities that floated gracefully above the ground. The view was breathtaking. "This is my home," she said. "Orion is a world of beauty and knowledge, but it is threatened. A warlord fleet approaches, and my people cannot stop them alone. That is why I must choose someone outside our civilization, someone who thinks differently. Ethan could hardly tear his eyes away from the holographic display. The planet was stunning, unlike anything he had ever seen. And yet, the thought of it being in danger made his stomach twist. "How can I help?" he asked quietly. "You will learn," Lyria said, her voice calm but firm. "You will be trained in our ways, in our technologies, and in strategies that your kind has never encountered. It will not be easy. You will face challenges that may frighten you, but you will not face them alone. I will guide you." Ethan nodded slowly. Fear and uncertainty still gripped him, but a small spark of determination began to grow. If he could find even a fraction of courage and creativity within himself, maybe, just maybe, he could make a difference. The shuttle moved through the dark expanse for hours. Lyria showed him more of her people's technologies, ships that could bend space, devices that controlled gravity, and weapons that were designed to disable rather than destroy. Ethan marveled at it all. Even as fear clung to him, he felt a flicker of excitement. These tools, combined with human ingenuity, could accomplish incredible things. Eventually, the shuttle approached a massive station orbiting near Orion. The structure was enormous, stretching far beyond the size of any human space station. Its surface shimmered with energy fields, and its architecture seemed to flow like liquid. "This is our training station," Lyria explained. "Here, you will learn what it means to face challenges beyond Earth. You will train with our warriors, scientists, and strategists. Only then will you be ready to help save Orion." Ethan stepped onto the station carefully. The floor seemed to hum beneath his feet. He felt the strange pull of gravity fields adjusting automatically to his movement. Everywhere he looked, advanced technology surrounded him. Machines that seemed alive, devices that responded to thought, and displays that floated in midair. He was guided to a training hall where a group of alien trainees waited. They were taller than him, with lithe bodies and sharp features. Their movements were precise and controlled, as if every action had been practiced for centuries. Ethan felt a pang of inadequacy. How could he, a human, keep up with them? Lyria noticed his hesitation. "You are not expected to match them immediately," she said. "You are expected to think differently. Use what your kind excels at. Adaptation, improvisation, creativity. That is your strength." The aliens watched him carefully as he attempted the first exercises. At first, Ethan stumbled. His reflexes were slower, his coordination clumsy compared to the trainees. He felt the sting of embarrassment. But Lyria's eyes encouraged him to keep trying. Hours turned into days. Ethan trained relentlessly. He learned alien combat techniques, studied advanced technology, and familiarized himself with zero-gravity movement. Each time he failed, he tried again, improvising ways to succeed. Slowly, the aliens began to notice. One day, during a simulated attack exercise, Ethan faced a situation the training program had not predicted. A mechanical target moved unpredictably, and none of the alien trainees could anticipate it. Ethan's human intuition kicked in. He analyzed the target's movement, adjusted his strategy, and successfully disabled it. The hall erupted in quiet astonishment. Lyria nodded approvingly. "See, Ethan, your mind sees possibilities that ours do not. That is why I chose you. Your creativity is your strength." Ethan felt a mix of pride and relief. Maybe he was capable after all. Maybe being human was not a limitation, it was an advantage. In the evenings, Lyria spoke to him more about her world and the looming threat. She described the warlord fleet, their power, and their cruelty. But she also shared stories of Orion's courage, unity, and resilience. Ethan realized that his fear was natural, but it could not control him. Courage, he began to understand, was not the absence of fear. It was action despite it. One night, as they looked out over the expanse of space, Ethan asked, "Princess, do you really think I can help?" Lyria's eyes met his, steady and unwavering. "I know you can. Humans are remarkable. You adapt, you innovate, you survive against odds that seem impossible. That is why you are chosen. Not because you are perfect, but because you are human." Ethan felt a swell of determination. He did not know what awaited him on Orion, or what battles he would face. But he knew one thing: he would not let fear paralyze him. If the princess believed in him, he would at least try. And so, under the quiet glow of alien stars, Ethan began to understand the magnitude of his journey. He was no longer just a human engineer. He was chosen, entrusted with a mission that could save a world. He was terrified, but he was also alive, aware of the vast possibilities before him. For the first time, he felt that being human was not ordinary. It was extraordinary, and the adventure had only just begun. The days on the alien training station passed in a blur of exercises, simulations, and lessons. Ethan's muscles ached in ways he had never imagined. Every movement felt foreign, every task a test of both mind and body. Yet with every stumble, he learned, and slowly he began to adapt. Princess Lyria watched quietly as he trained. She rarely spoke during the exercises, yet her presence was constant, guiding him in subtle ways. She would nod, adjust his stance, or simply place a hand on his shoulder. It was never intrusive, but Ethan could feel the weight of her confidence in him. The alien trainees, tall and elegant, moved with perfect precision. They could leap distances that made Ethan's head spin, manipulate weapons that seemed to obey thought alone, and coordinate attacks flawlessly. At first, Ethan felt out of place, clumsy and weak, but he refused to give up. "You are human," Lyria reminded him one morning. "Do not try to be like them. Use what only humans can do." That phrase stuck with Ethan. Humans were not faster, not stronger, not as precise, but they were clever. They could improvise, adapt, and see solutions that others overlooked. Slowly, he began to rely on these strengths rather than trying to match the aliens in every move. The first real test came during a simulation designed to mimic an enemy boarding scenario. The room transformed into a holographic battlefield, complete with shifting gravity, laser barriers, and multiple hostile drones. Ethan felt his heart pound. The aliens around him moved with lightning speed, disabling targets effortlessly. He tried to keep up, but the pace was overwhelming. A drone moved unpredictably, dodging every attack. The aliens hesitated, unsure of how to respond. Ethan remembered a tactic he had used while fixing a malfunctioning drone on the station months earlier. He quickly improvised, manipulating the environment in a way no alien would consider. He triggered a force field at an angle that redirected the drone into a containment field. The room fell silent for a moment. Then the aliens stared at him with wide eyes. Even the instructors paused. Lyria's lips curved into a small smile. "You see," she said softly, "this is why I chose you. Your mind thinks in ways ours do not. That is your gift." Ethan felt a surge of pride, but it was quickly tempered by the realization that the challenges were only going to get harder. Over the next few weeks, the training intensified. Ethan learned zero-gravity combat, how to maneuver in energy fields that altered momentum, and how to operate alien technology that seemed almost alive. He struggled at first, often failing spectacularly, but each failure taught him something new. One afternoon, during a complex exercise, the instructors introduced a new challenge, a team-based strategic simulation. Ethan was paired with 3 elite alien trainees. Their mission was to defend a holographic planetary system from an incoming fleet. At first, Ethan felt the familiar panic rising. His teammates moved with flawless coordination, speaking in a language he barely understood. Every command they issued was precise, every maneuver calculated. He felt completely out of place. Then he remembered Lyria's words, "Do not try to be like them. Use what only humans can do." He began to observe, not imitate. He noticed a pattern in the enemy fleet's movement that the aliens had overlooked. With a quick adjustment, he redirected energy barriers and created a trap for the enemy ships. The holographic fleet faltered, and the aliens followed his lead. Together, they succeeded in the simulation. The instructors were impressed. Even the elite trainees nodded at him with respect. Ethan felt a mixture of relief and exhilaration. Perhaps he really could contribute. Perhaps humans were more capable than anyone, even himself, had realized. Despite the progress, fear never left him entirely. He often lay awake in his quarters, staring at the stars beyond the station, thinking of Orion, of the approaching warlord fleet, and of the vast unknown that awaited him. Could a human truly make a difference against such power? The next trial proved his courage in a way no simulation could. During a high-intensity exercise, the station's warning alarms blared unexpectedly. A small reconnaissance drone from the enemy fleet had infiltrated the perimeter. The exercise turned into a real alert. Ethan's heart raced. The alien instructors were momentarily distracted, handling other emergencies. Without thinking, Ethan took control of the situation. Using his knowledge of both human and alien technology, he devised a quick plan to trap the drone before it could transmit data. He darted through the corridors, activating containment fields and rerouting power. The drone dodged, advanced sensor scanning his every move. Ethan's mind worked faster than it ever had, combining logic, intuition, and sheer creativity. Finally, with a clever trick involving redirected energy beams, he trapped the drone. The station erupted in activity as the instructors congratulated him. Lyria approached, her expression calm but proud. "You have done well," she said. "Your courage and quick thinking have saved us valuable time. Remember, bravery is not the absence of fear, it is action in spite of it." Ethan nodded, exhausted but exhilarated. The trial had been real and he had passed. He felt a new sense of confidence. Humans could adapt. Humans could survive. Humans could surprise even the most advanced species. Over the following days, Ethan continued to train, each exercise pushing him further. He learned alien strategies, mastered weapons designed to manipulate energy fields, and discovered innovative ways to combine human intuition with alien precision. The alien trainees began to respect him. They still outperformed him in raw skill, but they could not match his unpredictability. He solved problems they had never considered, anticipated moves they could not see, and found creative solutions to impossible situations. One evening, after a long day of training, Ethan and Lyria stood on an observation deck overlooking Orion. The planet shimmered beneath them, a jewel in the vast darkness of space. "You have done well," Lyria said. "Your progress is remarkable. You have proven that humans can adapt and thrive, even in ways our kind does not expect." Ethan looked at the planet, feeling both awe and apprehension. "I still feel scared," he admitted. "I don't know if I'll be ready when the real battle comes." Lyria placed a hand on his shoulder. "Fear is natural, Ethan, but you are learning. Courage grows from practice, from experience, from the willingness to face the unknown. You are not alone. I am with you, and your people will support you. Together we will face whatever comes." Ethan felt a surge of determination. He was still terrified, but he also felt hope. Hope that humans, with their creativity and courage, could rise to challenges no one else could. Hope that he could make a difference. And as he gazed at Orion, he realized something profound. Being human was not a weakness. It was a strength. Humans had survived, adapted, and thrived against impossible odds on Earth. Now, in the vastness of space, that same spark could shine brighter than ever. The next day, Ethan returned to training with renewed energy. He knew the trials would only get harder. He knew the real danger was approaching, but he also knew he had the skills, the courage, and the creativity to meet it. For the first time, Ethan truly believed that he could be more than just a human engineer. He could be a hero, and in the quiet moments when he thought no one was watching, he imagined the day when humans would stand alongside Orion's finest warriors and face the greatest threat their galaxy had ever known. The journey was far from over. The trials were only the beginning. But Ethan had learned the first and most important lesson. Humans could rise to greatness, even when the odds seemed impossible, and with that realization he prepared for what was coming, ready to face the stars and whatever challenges they held with courage, creativity, and an unyielding human spirit. The silence of space was shattered by alarms. Red lights flashed across the bridge of the Orion Defense Station. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. The warlord fleet had arrived. Outside the reinforced windows, dozens of massive ships glided toward the planet. Their hulls were dark, angular, and menacing, bristling with weapons. The alien crew moved quickly, activating shields, energy fields, and weapon systems. Every second mattered. Princess Lyria stood at the center of the bridge, calm and focused. Her eyes scanned the tactical displays, glowing faintly as she coordinated the defense. She turned to Ethan. "You have trained for this," she said. "Now you must act. Use your mind, your creativity. Help us turn the tide." Ethan swallowed hard. He had faced simulations, challenges, and even a real security breach on the training station. But this was different. Lives were at stake. Orion itself hung in the balance. Fear gnawed at his stomach, but he forced himself to focus. The first wave of enemy ships approached quickly. The Orion fleet responded with coordinated fire, energy shields flaring as blasts collided against them. The warlord ships moved predictably at first, advancing in tight formations. The alien commanders expected to counter them in standard fashion. But Ethan noticed something they did not, a subtle pattern in the enemy's maneuvers, a slight delay that could be exploited. "Princess," he said, pointing to the display, "their ships are synchronized, but their formation shifts every few seconds. If we target the central nodes at the right time, we can break their coordination." Lyria studied the tactical display and nodded. "Do it. Trust yourself, Ethan." His hands moved quickly over the console. He recalculated energy flows, redirected shields, and timed attacks. The enemy fleet faltered. The Orion ships took advantage of the moment, striking decisively and scattering the attackers. Ethan felt a rush of relief, but there was no time to celebrate. The warlord fleet was still massive, and this was only the first wave. The battle escalated. Ethan and the aliens worked as one. The alien pilots executed maneuvers he suggested, sometimes hesitating, but trusting his human intuition. Time and again, Ethan improvised strategies that the aliens would never have considered. He directed energy beams to ricochet off asteroid fields, creating barriers, and devised routes that allowed smaller ships to evade heavy fire. During a critical moment, one of the enemy warlord command ships broke through the defensive line. Its weapons were aimed directly at Orion. Panic rippled through the bridge. The alien commanders shouted orders, but the situation seemed hopeless. Ethan's mind raced. He remembered a trick from his engineering days, rerouting energy to bypass a malfunction. Could he apply it here? Quickly, he calculated a new energy path using the station's defensive grid to overload the command ship's shields. He hesitated for a split second, realizing how risky it was. But then he remembered Lyria's words. Courage is action despite fear. He activated the sequence. Energy surged along precise channels, striking the enemy command ship. Its shields flickered and failed. The Orion fleet fired together, striking the ship's engines. It exploded in a brilliant flash of light, scattering debris across space. The bridge erupted in cheers. Even the most elite alien warriors looked at Ethan with astonishment. He had just turned the tide at the critical moment, but the battle was not over. More ships approached, and smaller skirmishes broke out near the planet's surface. Ethan moved through the tactical controls, coordinating defenses, improvising strategies, and anticipating the enemy's next moves. He combined human intuition with alien precision, finding solutions that saved countless ships and lives. During the heat of battle, one of the enemy drones managed to breach the planet's surface defenses. Ethan realized the drone's movement was too unpredictable for the standard interceptors. Without hesitation, he commandeered a small fighter craft using zero-gravity maneuvers and quick thinking to intercept it. The drone zigzagged, firing energy blasts, but Ethan adapted, using the environment and the craft's momentum to trap it. With a precise strike, he disabled the drone. The alien pilots around him were impressed. "Humans are unpredictable," one said over comms, "but I'm effective." Hours passed. The battle raged with intensity. Ethan barely noticed hunger or exhaustion. His mind focused entirely on strategy, improvisation, and action. Time seemed to stretch and compress, moments passing in bursts of decision and reaction. Finally, the last of the enemy ships attempted a retreat. Ethan, observing their patterns, anticipated the escape routes. He directed the Orion fleet to cut off the retreat, trapping the remaining vessels. One by one, they surrendered or were disabled. When the dust settled, the warlord fleet was defeated. Orion floated in quiet victory, its cities unscathed, its forests and rivers shimmering under the alien sun. The Orion crew cheered, celebrating their survival and the skill of their new human ally. Ethan sank into a seat on the bridge, exhausted but exhilarated. Princess Lyria approached, her presence calm and radiant. "You have done it," she said. "You have helped save my world. You trusted yourself, and in doing so, you have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary things." Ethan shook his head, still trying to process everything. I just did what I could. I followed what I learned, but it was terrifying." Lyria smiled, placing a hand gently on his shoulder. "Fear does not diminish courage. You acted in spite of it. You are not just a human engineer anymore. You are a hero of Orion." For the first time, Ethan felt the weight of his accomplishment. He had been terrified, unsure of himself, and yet he had made a real difference. His creativity, quick thinking, and courage had turned the battle in favor of Orion. Later, as he walked through the streets of Orion with Lyria, He observed the citizens celebrating. They looked at him with awe and gratitude, whispering about the human who had helped save their planet. Ethan felt a strange mix of humility and pride. He was still the same person he had been on Nova 7, yet he had changed. He had faced the impossible and survived. Lyria turned to him. Ethan, you must understand something. Humans are remarkable. Your kind has survived, adapted, and thrived against impossible odds on your world. That spark, the ability to think, to act, to create, is what makes humans powerful. You have shown it today. Ethan looked at her, realizing the truth in her words. He had doubted himself, feared failure, and yet, humans could rise to challenges that seemed insurmountable. He had done more than survive. He had made a difference. That night, Ethan stood under the twin moons of Orion, gazing at the stars. The battle was over, but the galaxy was vast and full of unknowns. He felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. He was a human among aliens, but he had shown that humans could shine brightly, even in the most alien of worlds. Princess Lyria joined him, standing silently for a moment. Then she spoke, her voice calm and warm. The battle is won, Ethan, but this is only the beginning. Your journey, our journey, has many challenges ahead, and I know you are ready for them. Ethan nodded, feeling the truth of her words. He had been terrified, yes, but he had also discovered something incredible about himself and his kind. Humans were not small. Humans were not weak. Humans were capable of greatness, of courage, creativity, and heroism on a scale that even the stars could witness. And as he looked up at the galaxy, Ethan knew that he would face whatever came next with the same determination, the same courage, and the same ingenuity that had carried him through the battle. Orion was safe for now, and humans had proven once again that they were not to be underestimated. Ethan smiled faintly. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and full of wonders, and he, a human, had a place among them. The adventure was far from over. The stakes were higher than ever, but Ethan had learned that fear was not the enemy. It was the fuel that drove courage, ingenuity, and heroism. And he was ready. The battle for Orion was over, but the air still buzzed with the aftershocks of conflict. Fires had been extinguished, but the hum of energy shields and repair drones filled the streets. Citizens moved through the city, rebuilding, helping one another, and whispering tales of the human who had helped save their world. Ethan walked beside Princess Lyria, taking in the scene. For months he had trained, learned, and fought alongside aliens whose abilities once seemed impossible to match. He had faced fear, doubt, and the unimaginable, and now he stood among a civilization that saw him not as a stranger but as a hero. You did more than anyone expected, Lyria said, her voice calm but filled with warmth. You showed the courage, creativity, and determination that makes humans remarkable. Ethan shook his head, still processing the enormity of what had happened. I just did what I could. I followed what I had learned, but this, he gestured to the city, the people, the ships in orbit. This is incredible. I don't know if I could have done it without all of you guiding me. Lyria smiled. Guidance only takes you so far. You had to take action yourself. That is what makes your kind special. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, humans act. You improvised, adapted, and overcame. That is why you were chosen. Ethan felt a surge of pride mixed with humility. For so long he had thought of humans as small, ordinary, limited by their strength and size. But he now understood something profound. Humans had a spark that could shine in the darkest corners of the galaxy. Courage, creativity, and determination were qualities no weapon or technology could replicate. As they walked, citizens approached him, bowing slightly, offering words of gratitude. Children stared wide-eyed, whispering about the human who had saved their planet. Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he had never known. It was one thing to survive and fight. It was another to be recognized, respected, and trusted by beings from another world. That evening, Lyria invited him to her palace. The structure floated gracefully above the city, a marvel of Orion engineering. Inside, light flowed like liquid and walls shifted with subtle elegance. Lyria guided Ethan to a balcony overlooking the city. You have done more than just fight, she said. You have built trust. You have shown my people what humans are capable of. And more than that, you have shown me. Ethan blinked, unsure what she meant. You understand now, she continued, why I chose you? Not because you are the strongest, but because you embody what is most valuable: hope, courage, and the willingness to act when others hesitate. You have reminded us all of the strength that comes from heart and mind, not just power. Ethan looked out at the city, feeling the truth in her words. Humans had survived against impossible odds, building civilizations, solving problems, and exploring the stars. And now, for the first time, he felt that he could contribute to something far larger than himself. "Thank you," he said quietly. I didn't know I could do all this, but I'm glad I tried," Lyria nodded. "And that is why I chose you. Not for what you were, but for what you are capable of becoming." Days passed as Orion healed. Ethan trained less intensely now, spending more time helping rebuild the city and teaching small groups of Orion trainees human problem-solving methods. He demonstrated creative strategies, improvisation, and the kind of thinking that had turned the tide in battle. The aliens absorbed these lessons eagerly, fascinated by human ingenuity. Through it all, Ethan and Lyria grew closer, bound by shared experience and mutual respect. She was not just a princess, she was a leader, a guide, and now a trusted ally and friend. Their bond was quiet but unbreakable, forged in the fires of conflict and tempered by the calm that followed. One afternoon, as they stood on the palace balcony, Ethan asked, "Princess, what happens next? The warlord is defeated, but surely the galaxy is still full of threats." Lyria's gaze stretched across the horizon. "Indeed it is. But threats are opportunities to grow stronger. We will continue to defend Orion, strengthen our alliances, and explore what the galaxy can offer. And you will continue to represent humans, not as soldiers but as a symbol of what your kind can achieve." Ethan felt a sense of purpose settle over him. He had always thought of himself as ordinary, but he now understood that humans were far from ordinary. They could inspire, innovate, and lead, even among the stars. As the twin moons of Orion rose in the sky, Ethan felt the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility. He had traveled far from Earth, faced fears unimaginable, and yet he had emerged stronger, braver, and wiser. Humans were capable of greatness, and he was living proof. In the days that followed, ambassadors from other planets began arriving, curious about the human who had helped save Orion. Ethan met diplomats, scientists, and warriors, sharing insights into human creativity and strategy. He realized that even in a galaxy filled with advanced civilizations, humans had a role, not just as allies, but as innovators, problem solvers, and leaders. One evening, Lyria approached him as they watched the city lights shimmer below. "Ethan, I have a proposition," she said. He turned, curious. "I wish for you to remain with us," she said. "Not as a visitor, but as a representative of Earth and humanity. Your presence will remind my people of what humans are capable of, and it will give you opportunities to continue growing, learning, and contributing to the galaxy." Ethan's heart raced. The offer was incredible and terrifying. Staying meant leaving Earth for long periods, traveling among alien worlds and facing challenges he could not yet imagine. Yet it also meant purpose, adventure, and the chance to continue proving that humans could rise to the occasion. I would be honored," he said after a moment. "I don't know what lies ahead, but I want to help." Lyria's smile was radiant. "Then you are chosen in every sense of the word. Together we will face the future, and humanity will be remembered not just on Earth but among the stars." Ethan looked at her, then at the city below, and finally up at the galaxy stretching infinitely above. For the first time, he felt completely at peace. He had been terrified when Lyria first chose him, but now he understood. Being human was not a limitation, it was a gift. And with courage, creativity, and determination, humans could shine even in the darkest reaches of space. The people of Orion celebrated, and Ethan found himself in awe of the trust, respect, and admiration they offered. He realized that the journey had changed him. He was no longer just an ordinary engineer. He was a human among stars, capable of extraordinary things. As night fell, the twin moons bathed the city in soft light. Ethan and Lyria stood together on the balcony, looking out at a peaceful Orion, their eyes reflecting the stars. "You were terrified when I chose you," Lyria said softly. Ethan nodded, a faint smile on his lips. "I was, but now I understand. Being human is enough. And maybe it's exactly what the galaxy needs." Lyria placed her hand lightly on his. "It is, and I am proud that you showed it to all of us." Ethan looked at her, then at the stars, and felt a quiet determination. There would be more challenges, more unknown dangers, but he knew humans could rise to meet them. Courage, creativity, and heart were not limited to Earth. They could shine anywhere. And as the moons rose higher, casting light across the city and beyond, Ethan felt ready. Ready to continue the adventure, to explore the galaxy, and to prove that humans, ordinary in some ways, extraordinary in others, could face anything and inspire everyone around them. Orion was safe. The warlord fleet defeated, and humanity had earned its place among the stars. The story was over for now, but the journey had only just begun. Ethan, the human engineer once terrified by the unknown, now stood proud, ready to embrace the galaxy. He had been chosen, and he had risen to the challenge.